you introduce a way to style tables with a package called great_tables. Great tables. But yeah, if you're typing it out, the package is great_tables. And in a talk, Jeroen, you actually mentioned that tables are underappreciated in visualization. So could you elaborate on why this Great Tables package was created, what it does, maybe what its advantages to existing approaches out there?
In hindsight, so now that this package exists, right, Great Tables, it's strange that there wasn't already a package, right? Because tables are everywhere. Especially when people are working with Excel, a lot of people really like to add styling to this in order to make it presentable to stakeholders, right? Add some color, use currencies, what have you. Maybe some mini graphs in there, right? So now that it's there, it's so obvious that there should be a package for this. So Rich, I'm actually not sure how to pronounce his last name. The creators of Great Tables, Rich Ion. I'm butchering that, but I do know the co-creator. Well, they're both my colleagues. I should know, but I just call them Rich and Michael Chow. Great folks. You should have them on the show as well. They created the Great Tables package, and so. Just only a few days ago, I saw a post by someone about polars advocating or actually recommending that, okay, it's useful to add in the $ when you're presenting currency. But what he was doing, he was actually changing the underlying data. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the way to do it. You want to change how it's represented, right? This layer on top of it. That's what you need to do, and that's what Great Tables can provide. So you're not changing those floats or integers to strings in order to format it. That's not the way to do it. No. So there should be another layer, and Python has a myriad of data visualization packages, but when it comes to producing tables, well, I only know of one, and that's Great Tables. So with polars, you can indeed style data frames using the Great Tables package created by Rich Ion and Michael Chow. So you use the df style accessor, and that will then use the Great Tables package under the hood.
There you go. And so I'll try to explain back to you the example you just gave me there with the $, and you can tell me if I'm getting this right, that basically you're saying if you have this huge, it doesn't matter if you have a very small table. If you think about a spreadsheet with 100 rows, it doesn't really matter if you write some kind of like find replace that goes and adds in $ at the beginning of every number in a column. But if you have a gigantic piece of data, then trying to edit each of the individual items in that gigantic column would be very computationally and memory expensive. And so with Great Tables, you have this abstraction above where you don't need to individually change that information in all the rows. It's like an attribute of the column that changes.
Yeah, I wasn't really hinting at the performance issues right there. It doesn't feel right to me that you're changing the actual data.
Oh.
You want to keep the data. Because you never know what you want to do after that, right? Maybe you want to have a subsequent calculation going on.
You have to strip the $ again.
Yeah. Also, when you want to have round numbers or so there's so many instances where you just want to change the representation and keep the underlying data intact.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Great explanation. Cool. So your book, listeners should definitely check that out. The Python Polars Definitive Guide, or should I say it properly, Python Polars, the Definitive Guide.
The Definitive Guide.